the network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is EDtech, Episode 19, recorded Thursday, August 29th, 2013. Thank you, Blagojevich. This is EDtech, the education-focused podcast put on to you by the fine folks at AVNation. I know them. They're all fine folks. They're really nice guys, except the head of the place. He's a jerk. My name is Tim Albright. I'm the aforementioned jerk. The host for today's episode. I'm also a technology manager somewhere around the neighborhood of St. Louis, Missouri. Go Cards, but also go Bears, because football starts in a week and a half. Yay! Speaking of go Bears, UCLA's technology manager.
That's why you're so hung up on the Bears.
Yes.
I never quite put...
Come on, Greg. You're from Wisconsin. Aren't you?
I'm not.
I thought you were from Wisconsin.
I've never been to Wisconsin.
I'm
actually... I don't usually admit to this in mixed company, but I'm actually a native Californian. One of like the 7.
Why did I think that you were born or lived in... Did you ever live in Wisconsin?
No.
Oh, then never mind then. I thought you I don't know. It was maybe a different Greg I had a conversation with.
I dated a girl from Michigan.
That's close enough. That's close enough. I don't know. I'm stretching here because I honestly thought you were. It's somewhere in the back of my brain I had that Greg Brown's from Wisconsin. So okay, Greg Brown's not from Wisconsin. He's one of 7 people actually born and raised in California. So that means he's a native of nothing. How are you, sir?
It's the Bruins, the UCLA Bruins.
No, there are no Bruins anymore. There were the Brewers.
No, they're the Bruins because they were already a bear when the mascots were becoming the Pac-12 or what the Pac-10 or whatever it was we are part of.
And there is a bear on the state flag of California. So
California Republic, yeah.
All right, cool beans. And across the fruited plain of the United States. You are in Virginia. You are in Virginia.
I am in Virginia.
Thank goodness. At least I got one of you two right. His name is Matt Silverman. He works for George Mason University and a fine human being. How are you?
Doing well, thank you, Tim.
Good.
Surviving the start of classes.
Holy cow, are you kidding me? It's like the first week of, I love the first week of school, but I hate the first week of school. It's just like, all right, hang on tight, and I think UCLA's 3-week semester starts in like a month.
Yeah, no, actually, we've got like 3 weeks to go. But get this: the rack for one of the rooms I have to install before classes start arrived about 2 hours ago.
Nice, but you have 3 weeks.
You have 3 weeks.
I have. Yeah, I have 3. This is the new room design that I haven't quite designed yet. So.
I got an art show. I have 5 speaker systems to put in. I get blah 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 blah, and school's already started. So don't even.
I know better than to ask for any sympathy from you guys.
We opened 2 buildings with 70 new rooms or refresh rooms this summer. So
holy
one
cow.
rack. Not much sympathy.
No, We're doing K-arrays in 5 of our banquet facilities. So,
really?
Yeah.
Oh, what do you think of those?
So far, so good. I'm impressed with the compactness of them and the coverage area that they give. The subs are heavy as all get out. Holy cow! You could use them as portable systems, but you're going to have some big boys and girls to carry them around. The tops are not so bad, but the subs is also where the amplifier lives, and it has a nice integrated touchscreen in the back of it, so you can like a nice little integrated mixer. So I'm actually going to do like a 5-part blog post on it. I took pictures of we had all 5 rooms laid out on our theater stage. It was an impressive sight because there was quite a number of speakers there. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
But none of their anacondas?
I did not, because I don't really have a use for the anaconda.
All right, who's?
We're just going to move
Moving
on.
on.
We're moving
Let's
on.
talk about the actual news. We've talked about collaborative spaces before. Crestron apparently has gotten into the thick of this. Matt, you are my collaborative space guy because I have a couple, but not really, nothing like this. It's called Crestron Connect It. Basically, it's a table space that's got still the HD15. Thank goodness, because we still have HD15 things. HDMI and some other stuff. It's a table insert. You're going to have a big hole saw for this one. I guess I should ask this first. Where are we going with this whole collaborative space in general? Not just Crestron specifically, but in general, where are we going with this?
This is an interesting piece. I mean, we just actually built a classroom as one of the 7 we just finished up with, which was a 72-seat. We're calling it Active Learning with Technology or Alt Classroom. It's in the style of scale-up classrooms, which if you're familiar with that, it's not just technology, it's also curricular design that focuses on how you use the room as well as how the room is accessible. And what we did was something very similar to this. It was actually a custom product we had manufactured. Is we created at a table of 9 students 3 different stations where the students actually have an HDMI, a DisplayPort, and a VGA connection. And they have a button that they can press, and basically it'll tell which signal to send to the display. So that's where I see products like this in the kind of scale-up type classrooms or training rooms, but also in small group settings in a library where you may have a display and this box, which really you hit the button and you drive it, kind of like a Mediascape table or some of the other products like that. The Extron, I can't remember the name of it, but Extron actually has a cable with a button on it, similar as well.
Well, and the Barco has the click share. Is that's Barco?
A lot of people are jumping into this.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, Greg.
Yeah,
sorry.
Barco is ClickShare.
Yeah. Now, as I say, ClickShare is a little different because ClickShare is wireless. This is not actually an AV switching solution. This is just a button, but it's a smart button if it's programmed correctly. It took me some very expensive custom manufacturing and like 3 other devices to do what this will do by itself, which to me makes it very attractive.
Okay.
And it's really, from what I understand of the product, it's literally, I don't even know if the cables come with it. I think literally it's just the buttons, and you plug that into, I think it can either be plugged in USB or CrestNet to your Crestron system, and you then programmatically drive what it does. And it just streamlines it makes what was a very expensive install that I just did a slightly less expensive install, and I kind of like where it's going because it's exactly what we put together conceptually, and now it's a stock product.
Mr. Bruin, where do you think we're going with this whole integrated systems, this whole integrated collaborative, back and forth?
The collaborative stuff, boy, I wish I knew. I see a lot of people doing it. It's not something we've been big on here at UCLA. We don't like to really interfere with the creative energy of 200 departments not talking to one another and all going off in different directions. So collaborative stuff is not really our game here. But I have seen some other local colleges do it, and it's interesting. It's kind of like everybody is building something, and kind of I get the impression in the same boat. They're building these rooms and then sort of waiting to find out exactly how the instructors are going to use them and what the killer app is going to be, or how it works in various various departments or in various different subjects. So it's an interesting area. One a lot of us have been paying a lot of attention to. Everybody's coming out with this stuff. I think FSR has a solution, and Vadio had something, and Kramer had something at the show, and Crestron and AMX. Who doesn't have some sort of collaborative device this week, it seems.
Okay, so go ahead. Go back to something you said there for a second. You said that the technologists and the technology managers in your different schools, because let's be honest, UCLA is a large school, much larger than my little community college. And you said the people in the various schools are building these spaces and seeing how professors are using them. So they're trying to be proactive, whereas where I live, first of all, I live in the state of Illinois, so we have no money, and so
Thank you, Rod Blagojevich.
Thank you, Rod Blagojevich. Yes, very nice. And it wasn't just his fault, although he was the more famous of the idiots that have run this state. So we're more reactive, right? Where I'm still trying to get some professors to come on board with classroom capture, and that's a whole nasty faculty association argument. And so you guys are doing the opposite, where you're building these things to see how people use them. And if they don't use them, what do you guys do then? Just kind of leave them there?
Well, like I said, since we haven't here at UCLA really built any that I'm aware of, I don't know. I know of one really nice one at a local Cal State, and they apparently haven't had any problems getting instructors over there to use it. But I don't know the details as far as what sort of departments and what exactly they're doing with it. So, I don't know quite what to say.
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious because again, it's a different mindset, really. Go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say we've done 3 now, and one I've seen is it can't just be the technologists pushing it. All 3 have been successful in their own ways, but the real success is when we have the technologist working with an instructional designer, and you're actually making fundamental curriculum changes based on the room itself. And it's not just throw them in the room and see how they use it. It's more think about how you teach. And 2 out of the 3 of the projects I've done, there's been a real engagement either from an instructional designer or from our Center for Teaching and Faculty Excellence. And when there's an engagement, it's amazing how the curriculum transforms and how the learning experience transforms. And it really improves. There was actually some research on this. One of the first, I guess, rooms of these types was at MIT. It was the Teal room, which was in the physics program there. And they did I think it was a multi-year study where they taught in that room versus a traditional lecture style. And they could actually document how these students in introductory physics had better retention and better test scores on the same exams with the changed learning styles.
So how do you get then the faculty to come on board with stuff like that? Do you do like what Greg is talking about, build it, or is it like the whole, the Field of Dreams, build it and they will come, or do you start including them on conversations? Do you take them to Infocom? Do you take them to Educom? Do you take them to the CCUMC?
I think it's things like CCUMC, Educom, Educause, not necessarily Infocom. You have to remove the technology from the discussion, because the funny thing is the one we just did, we spent a lot of money on, but the technology design isn't that complicated. You have to get function from the instructors. You have to really get a champion at your university who really will be the person who says, we need this, and I'm going to promote it. One thing we've done in this last round is there's actually a faculty cohort. We opened the classroom this fall. You actually had to apply to teach in there. This is the first time we've ever done that at George Mason. Typically, classrooms are just, you're not guaranteed you get into them, but it's pretty much open season on our university classrooms. And the faculty who applied to teach in there actually had to work with our Center for Teaching and Faculty Excellence for 6 months before we opened the classroom to do curriculum redesign.
Wow.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, the two collaborative spaces I can think of here in the greater SoCal area that I know are seeing a lot of use. Where I'm not real steeped in the process. I know that they did involve faculty, and there was a long-term planning of, what do you want this room to do, sort of thing that went on that incorporated the faculty as part of that. The one I'm thinking of that was much more of a, we're technology guys and we've thrown lots of neat stuff into a room. That's the one that last I heard is not seeing a lot of consistent use, strangely enough, and I won't throw one of my fellow UCs under the bus on that one.
Oh, go ahead. Who is it?
No,
Berkeley?
No,
it's Berkeley, isn't it?
No,
it's
Southern
Berkeley.
California.
It's always Berkeley.
Which is the one
Which
is the one in Silicon Valley? Was that Santa Cruz or?
That would be UC Santa Cruz. Yeah, the south end of the San Francisco Bay Area.
They had a fairly successful, very early on one of these collaborative suites, and it was actually a model I tried to copy from, where they actually had both a technologist and an instructional designer assigned to the room, and they took it even to a research step where they were doing observation of the classes in there. But it was part of a building they put up about 7 or 8 years ago. And there was nothing from a technologist. You'll look at the room and say, it's an okay room. It's nothing sexy. But you actually see how people are using it, and you say, okay, well, there's some real innovative learning going on. And I think that's what's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that's the other thing is as long as you can get early buy-in, I think that's the key here, because Greg even mentioned you don't just throw stuff at it. You've got to get early buy-in with not just higher ups and this, that, and the other, but you have to get early buy-in with the actual end user, because the unique thing about us, and not us as in technology managers, I've had this argument with integrators before. We're not the end user. We're just not. I mean, yes, we are the face that you talk to, and reps. We are the guys that you talk to, and the girls that you talk to, but we are not the end user. The faculty are the end users. The people who actually have to walk in there, hit a button, and hopefully something happens when they hit that button. So, all right, moving on. MHL 3.0. Woo! It almost sounds like a hockey league. Mobile High Definition Link. Say that quickly. The 3.0. This comes to us from Engadget, which they're kind of snarky. They start out by saying MHL 2.0. We hardly knew ye. You know what? If you're part of Nick Denton,
it's true.
It's true. Yes. So the brand new one, 3.0. Woohoo! What's this 3.0 give us? I'll give you 2 guesses. The first word is 4. The last one is K. Because that's what we need is 4 freaking K. 7.1 surround sound. Well, that is kind of cool. And some other stuff. Here's the thing that with MHL, because we also need more standards.
Why do we love standards?
Because there's so many to choose from.
Exactly.
Greg, is this? I don't know.
First.
I don't have to. Matt, you're the one.
You can come. My comments are going to be short and sweet.
Okay, let's kick them off.
I'm going to rely for Matt for the intellectual part of this.
I always do.
Oh, well, thank you for confirming that suspicion. I'm just here for comic relief. I know my role.
Well,
what was the question?
I don't know. MHL 3.0, go.
I saw MHL and my first thought is, what the hell is MHL?
We've talked about MHL before here.
Yeah, we have.
You may not have been paying attention, but
I must have slept through that part. It adapts back to HDMI. I really don't care.
Okay, Mr. Silverman.
Okay. Well, one, you know how I love my
now for the intelligent part.
Yes.
This is one that I think we're going to get hit in a classroom before not too long, and I'm not sure there's going to be a good way for us to support it. MHL is connector agnostic, so it may come at you on an HDMI connector, it may come on you on a mini USB. but we're starting to see some MHL source devices come out. And one of the neat things about it is that it kind of auto negotiates, and I think you can actually provide power on it. And it's one of these consumer technologies which I think is going to slap us upside the head if we're not careful. Because Roku now has an MHL-enabled stick. There's some Android phones. I think I've seen a camera which was like MHL. So I just saw this article. I'm like, I have a nasty feeling like this may be the new hot thing this Christmas. And once again, we can't support it in the classroom.
So you really think the reason I ask, because we've talked about consumer hitting us. I mean, HDMI was the first real consumer thing that hit us all between the eyes. Not necessarily digital, because digital, I mean, let's be honest. Matt, you were our digital ever since I've known you almost, because you guys were doing some early deployments of DM. But digital back then, yes, there was HDMI, but there was some of us, and I'll admit, I was one of these that was hopeful that DisplayPort would be the one that won out, at least in the pro environment. Obviously, it didn't. It's still there. I'm not saying it's dead, but it's.
Meanwhile, he's still holding on to his Betamax machine.
You know what?
It's not dead. I just actually installed a whole bunch in the classroom.
Well, and I bought the gentleman from Microsoft who was part of our Super Tuesday for technology managers. He had that little bracelet from Liberty that had all the different connectors on it. Yeah. I bought like 10 of those because I have different use cases for them, and it had a DisplayPort adapter as well as the DVI and all this other jazz. And if you don't know what we're talking about, go to Liberty and they have this neat little device that, not sponsored in anything in any way, shape, or form. I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world. It has 5 or 6 different HDMI to X digital converters. And it's got a place where you can lock it down, and it was beautiful. I mean, you lock it straight onto the HDMI cable, give it enough tension to where you can plug the actual HDMI into DisplayPort, DVI-D, all sorts of other digital connectors. So it was pretty cool. But yeah, anyhow, I say that because HDMI was the first one to hit us between the eyes. I don't know MHL is going to be there, because the reason I say that is because, I have this sneaking suspicion that all these little airy devices, and I say airy like iTunes, the Apple Air device, the Google Chromecast, and the fact that you can connect to it wirelessly, I see that more hitting us than this MHL.
And I'm not going to disagree with you. It just, I don't know, something I read, and I think I just saw an announcement from Epson that they just shipped their first MHL-enabled projector, which kind of, and that's a consumer projector. That's not a pro projector.
But they have it in their line. They
have it in their line. And it's also, I'm looking at the release right now. It's the Epson Home Cinema 2030. And it's a $1,000 projector, which they're also touting as their first it's a $999 projectors. Their first sub 1,000 1080p home projector.
Okay.
And so it's the type of thing where I could see, okay, well, if they're supporting it, who's going to jump on this bandwagon next? Because sometimes the manufacturers feed on these standards like a feeding frenzy.
Yeah.
But what's the scenario in the classroom where somebody's going to come in with an MHL equipped device, and we aren't going to just stick an adapter on it to HDMI and plug it in, and everybody will be fat, dumb, and happy? I mean, I'm not seeing the application here.
MHL is a connector, a communication protocol. It's not actually a physical connector, so you can't adapt it. You either have an HDMI port that supports MHL or one that doesn't. And
that's something different. Okay.
Okay, and maybe I'm misunderstanding, and I'll be the first to take a step back if I am. But it's just one of these things where I could see this being, again, I don't know if it's a 6 month or a year. It just struck me from everything I've read about MHL. It was, why hasn't this taken off?
Yeah.
And as I started seeing this, I'm like, well, maybe it's about to take off, because it just made too much sense. I mean, it's one of these things. I think I was sitting in one of Pete Putnam's Future Trends about 3 years ago, where he talked about this. And I had like 3 of the protocols. He had listed out, the 27 competing protocols at that point that were trying to go for HD. And I'm like, this one I see going somewhere. So now that I'm seeing it come up, I'm wondering, is it actually ready for prime time?
And it might very well be. Anything like that allows people to walk in with their device, because let's be honest, we've been talking about bring your own device for a couple of years now. We're going to have to be ready for. I mean, it kind of goes back to the previous conversation we had about being proactive and reactive. If you have a limited budget, you're almost dictated to be reactive. Whereas if you have a budget that you can start playing around with, you can be as reactive as you want and put it in, half a dozen rooms, start playing around with some stuff. And then if they start asking, you can go, oh, yeah, by the way, we can take you right down here to this room, make sure it works for you, and bada boom, bada bing, and have your room up and ready. Whereas me, I'm like, give me a couple weeks and I'll order something and we'll see what happens. So, all right.
I Googled it and I'm seeing pages of $10 MHL to HDMI adapters.
Just because they make an adapter doesn't mean it works.
Well, okay, yeah, Lord, I know that.
You too could go on to Amazon and get a VGA to HDMI adapter.
Yes, you can.
Which is not powered. No. Is it going to do any? I really want to see how that's pinned out, but yeah.
Oh yeah, and the person who makes that should just they should be flogged or something. It's kind of like if you've ever taken a DM class, either a DMCD or a DMCE, the gentleman who usually teaches it, my buddy Kevin Iselli, will typically bring up this website, and I'm not going to give them any press, but it's a website of HDMI cables, and they go from like coffee all the way up to diamond, and it's the exact same length all of these are, and they have different colors. And if you read the specs, they all say the same thing. They all have the exact same specs, but one is $30 and one is $1,000. So the people who sell VGA to HDMI converters cables, converter cables should be, drawn and quartered or something. So I don't know. All right, Google is helping us help ourselves. Google Helpouts, providing real-time help service via video chat. Yay! Have you guys used a Google Chat Hangout? Either of you?
Nope.
Yeah, I actually did one for a grad class I was taking. It was, for what it is, it's not bad. I mean, for a free service, I can't complain.
Yeah, for a free service, it's not too bad. One of our podcasts, the Red Band guys, did a Red Band live, which was interesting.
That scares me. It really scares me.
It was live from an integrator called Varex, and they had the Varex band out there too.
Wow.
Well, we essentially do this live, and look at what quality we come up with.
No, but they were actually live on, like they were broadcasting live on Google Hangouts, and
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm seeing that commercial of the Muppets, the Google Hangouts Muppet commercial in my head.
I have not seen that.
Oh, they were doing what were Bohemian Rhapsody, I think, on Google Hangouts.
Excellent.
Or something like that. It's worth finding that commercial.
Okay,
but
yeah.
I'm not saying the Red Band guys are Muppets. That's not where I'm going.
That's exactly what you're saying. That is precisely what you're saying, and I'm okay with it. I'm good with it.
And they're going to be after Matt now.
Oh yeah, you don't mess with with the Jersey boys. So, okay. So anyhow, getting back on a little serious note. I'm not sure why. So the Hangout thing on Google is a neat little video conferencing device. It's actually where I met a couple people like Rich Fregosa and Bradford Ben, like 2 years ago now. So they're coming out with a help desk-like device where you can interface with the poor, forlorn faculty member who is pulling out their hair because, what was one of the ones this week? Somebody had taken a dock cam and plugged the VGA connector on it. Yes, it's still an HD15. had plugged in the video, had taken the HD15 that was plugged into the video out and plugged it into the video in. Yeah. So I walked in, I went do plug.
Well, if it's coming out in one, shouldn't it go be going
don't do not think like a PhD, Mr. Brown, please.
A long way from that.
Yeah, Matt, is this? I mean, are we good with this? Is this a good idea to do video conferencing help desk stuff, or should we still, move do a roll the trucks version for us technology managers?
Well, we at George Mason have been for years trying to not roll the trucks or send people in the field as much as we can. We've actually built support tools into our AV systems. That being said, I just find it interesting. You're supposing that your computer is up so you can use Helpouts to actually call in. But anyway, we have a phone in every classroom that we do, so that's our support line. Okay. And I know some other people do it over an intercom service. And there's actually a couple of AV manufacturers who have dedicated intercom services for, direct to support. So I don't know. I know our goal right now is to move much more towards IT style support, where our goal is quick resolution, which the quickest resolution doesn't always mean, getting on site.
Yeah.
So now, granted, your problem where, I don't think there's any way you could have handled that remotely, but who knows?
Probably not, but it would have been fun to try. I don't know. That's just me. Mr. Brown, is this a good idea? I mean, you guys, you have a lot of stuff going on when it comes to, you have a lot of buildings and a far-reaching campus. So would this be a good idea for you guys?
I was reading through that, and heck, screw the faculty, screw the help desk. None of that stuff even crossed my mind. I like this. What was this? That you can charge for being an expert and providing consultation over this to people.
Okay, let's be clear.
I'm
you could not.
I couldn't.
I'm sorry.
Wow,
Tim.
Tim.
It was there. I told you, I've had a heck of a week.
The studio, at this point, the studio audience goes, "Oh,
yeah."
Man,
go ahead. Sorry.
No, that was the intriguing part. I was thinking they were talking about all these experts that they're hiring. That I thought it was interesting. The only ones that they are vetting in any way are the ones that are providing medical advice. So, which kind of, clearly a lot of our AV providers are not vetted either. But
no.
As far as like help desk and stuff like that, the thing we got doing, our model that we got on with, probably 10, 11 years ago, was putting a ring down phone in all the rooms. Just a simple dial-less phone. You pick it up, it calls the AV department help desk. And that is how we do 99% of our troubleshooting. And that was just that really cut down the truck rolls. Although in our case, it's actually bicycle rolls.
You have bicycles? Seriously? You are such a hippie.
Well, we don't have like roads between the buildings. The roads are kind of like around the campus.
Okay.
We've got golf carts for that.
I so want to get a golf cart.
We do have a couple of those, yes, but generally it was bicycle runs. But remember,
how do you carry the projectors on there?
It's 70 degrees and sunny too all the time.
Do you have like a little basket that you put the projectors in?
Actually, if it's a projector, then we typically be pushing a cart out there.
Okay, I was just wondering. Sorry, I've just got this image of you riding around with like a Toto like basket.
Oh, I didn't say I did this.
Oh, so it's even worse. He has people for that.
Tassels and ball cards in the spokes.
Oh, jeez. Goodness gracious! All right.
No, these are student workers doing this sort of stuff.
Of course, yes, because heaven forbid that you lower yourself enough to deliver a projector.
Actually,
as Matt and I,
we don't have problems with projectors breaking because it's my group that installs them. Thank you very much.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, one maintenance guy, 200 rooms.
That's not bad.
No, not at all.
Very
not
good.
at all. So, no, I didn't think it really not relevant to us. Didn't even think about that.
Okay. All right. Last story here, and we'll let you boys go because, we all have to do actual work, except for Greg. He has like 3 weeks left. Do you guys get off at like the middle of January in your fall break, or what?
No, the fall break. Remember, we are on the.
Are you on trimesters?
We're on the quarter system.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll have like the last 2 weeks of December off, like everybody else.
Yeah.
And then it's winter quarter. Yeah, we're darn near the only people in the UC system, I think, now that are quarters. And every few years we'll have the should UCLA switch over to the semester system, like everybody else in the enlightened world argument.
Geez.
But
Yeah.
So what is
Why
winter term? 60 degrees? Is that the big difference?
it rains occasionally.
60 degrees and long pants instead of shorts. So.
Well, no, it's 60 degrees. That's when we've got the heavy jackets out because it's cold like that.
You know what? 60 degrees. I'm still wearing shorts and a tank top. So, and now you have to get that image out of your head, boys.
A wife beater.
Yeah, I didn't say wife beater.
I'm sorry. I went. Yeah.
Last one here.
This is the point we explain that Scott's not here because he's prepping the dog sled for winter, right?
Yes, he is. At the end of August. TI introduces a single chip dock port technology destined for laptops and displays because, we need another freaking standard. Poor standards. They're getting the beat down today. This is from Engadget. It's also from our buddies over at Texas Instrument, which I love some of their stuff. They make some really good Pico stuff. They also are the boys who give us DLP because it's all about the mirrors. Yeah. Why do they do this to us? Matt, why are they doing this to us? Because I don't know. Why are they doing this? USB, DisplayPort, power, yay.
It's like they really just wanted to compete with Thunderbolt. I honestly, I saw this one and I'm like, why? I mean, basically they take away what is it, eSATA or whatever's running on Thunderbolt, and you get USB 3.
Yep.
And that's it. That's the difference. And I can't even figure out whose freaking connectors are on this thing. And it's basically AMD plus TI is teaming up against Intel, as far as I can tell from this one.
Well, and from AMD standpoint, I get that. I tell you, because they've got to have something that differentiates them from Intel. But if you're TI, why the freak would you even go down that road? I mean, why would you even kick that bear when Intel is the big behemoth in the room, as it were?
It's another SKU to ship. I don't know.
I guess.
If anybody had any questions as to whether TI was still an engineer-driven company, here's your answer.
They're not.
No, I think this is an idea only an engineer could love. We're doing it because it's there, kind of thing.
Let's be honest here. I was in all seriousness, when I went by the HD Base T pavilion at Infocom. Trust me, this has a tie-in. They were running HD Base T with power to a prototyped Samsung display, and that was cool to me. So I get the geeky coolness. You can do everything over one cable thing. I get the geekiness of that. We talked about freaking MHL, and we talked about a couple other things. I don't want to have another stupid thing to have to support for BYOD. Seriously.
Weren't we talking about how Thunderbolt just got dropped off of something on last month's show?
Yeah.
Some line of laptops dropped Thunderbolt. Maybe we're all going to switch over to TI now. Hey, it's been a few months since
Only if it's an AMD
agreed
chip.
on the same standard. It's about time we change to a whole new industry standard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Seems to be the time period we're working on around here.
Poor TI. All right. You know what?
HD3 SS 2521. The name just rolls off the tongue.
Okay, so let's just be really mean and hateful here. If it's,
Like we haven't been.
Yes, because we haven't been. You know what? We haven't. Never mind.
Well, we're branching out. We're like tossing a chip maker under the bus. Look, we're most of the way through the show, and we haven't said anything bad about Extron. I mean, this is a novel concept for us.
Who is this company you speak of? I am not aware of this company, nor any
damn,
products
there's that
they
helicopter outside again.
nor any products that they make. Because I haven't seen any products that they make. Because I don't go to trade shows anymore. All right. That was a joke. So what should they call this configuration, this connector, this cable?
I call it dock port, because that's not more confused. Let's see, we have display port. It's display port plus USB, hence dock port.
Well, I don't get the USB part of that, but
I think, and I'm pulling this one out of there. They're using USB, so you can possibly use it to dock laptops. I mean, I'm guessing maybe, I don't know. I'm really reaching here.
By the way,
I think it was what does Thunderbolt do, and how can we add more things?
I'm sorry, but if you go down we'll put the link on the website on the show notes page. If you go down and read the comments, the first one kind of says it all. Pretty sure this format has no chance in the market. There we go. End of sentence. Good night, folks. Have a nice day. Tip your waiters and waitresses. Not too far, they'll fall over. From UCLA, go Brew. I almost said go Blues. Go Bruins. Greg Brown, how are you? And thank you so much for joining us. And where can people find you?
Here in my office. Oh, you mean professionally?
Yeah. By the way, just for the record, next year we should not do this show the first week of classes starting because I'm just in a pissy mood.
And whose idea was that, Tim?
That was mine. Because last week was even worse.
I can be found on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and I think I promised some further writings on Infocom's All Voices blog, which I have not delivered.
Shame on you.
But soon, very soon, like I said last show.
Yeah, if Brad Grimes is listening to this one, it's in the mail. Matt Silverman, my standards buddy from George Mason University. What's happened with the one that was just put out for public comment?
Sure. That was audiovisual system performance verification. We just closed the comment period on the 19th of August. Got about, I want to say somewhere with like 35 to 50 comments. And right now the all very good. And the task group is actually reviewing all the comments, and we will respond to each one. And hopefully in the next couple months, we'll get those responses out, and if all goes well, we should be moving forward with the standard. So we're on the roadmap to getting the standard released this year.
Very good. So where can people find you, and not just your standards work, but any writings that you do, or George Mason, or your...
LinkedIn is generally the best place to find me these days. I'm probably on a whole bunch of other social media stuff, but I don't spend much time there. I probably should. So LinkedIn is the best place.
Okay, very good. My name is Tim Albright. If you would like to follow me, it's TD, Tim David Albright. But more importantly for me and everybody here at AVNation, go by the website if you would, please. We have a Facebook, Twitter, a Google+, and LinkedIn, and all that jazz. But you can start at the website, avnation.tv, avnation.tv. You'll find this podcast, our weekly AV Week, and we are actually getting ready to roll out a couple of projector shows. One focusing on the Pico projector market and the other one about projectors in general. So check that out, avnation.tv, avnation.tv. Thanks so much for listening. This has been EdTech.